Раз.
Tes.
Марин, доброе утро. Мы можем с вами проверить картиночку с вашей камеры и звук?
Hello, Mr. Parvin. Can we please check the sound and your video?
Hi,
Hello?
yes. I just
Hi.
checked. So
Yes, we hear you
it's
well. We see
working.
you well. So we are starting in 1 minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
In 1 minute. Everyone, please take your seats. We start in 1 minute. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you at the United Nations side event called Reinforcing the 2030 Agenda for Vulnerable Groups through Advancement in Emerging Technologies. This event is co-organized by the BRICS Expert Council Russia, Basin International Exchange Association, and the United Nations Development Programme at Tajikistan. Dear participants, dear guests, the importance of our today's discussion cannot be overstated. Emerging technologies that only recently seemed like a part of a distant future, showcased in SI moves, are now an integral part of our lives. The pace of innovation is unprecedented. Data from the World Intellectual Property Organization shows that the amount of patent applications submitted each year has been increasing, and with only exception in 2019. And in 2022, innovators from around the world submitted 3.46 million patent applications. This is the highest number of patents ever recorded. According to the UNCTAD, the value of emerging technologies such as Internet of Things, AI, electric vehicles, and some other is going to explode in this century. So this technological revolution results in many various consequences, and yet one of the most important ones is the ability to help the vulnerable groups. Our time is a time when technology may finally catch up with the ultimate goal of providing every human with decent life conditions and ensuring their safety and well-being. And this is our responsibility to safeguard this process and make sure that emerging technologies serve the global community in their full capacity. So it's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the session. This is Ms. Ana Cristina Amorosa das Neves, Vice Chair of the United Nations Commission on Science and Technology for the Development. So Ms. Neves has over 30 years of professional experience in the digital world, emerging technologies, and innovation public policies. She's also the head of the Internet Governance Office at FCSN, the Portuguese National Research and Education Network, and a founding member of EuroDIG, the European Dialogue on Internet Governance, where she makes contributions to regional and global discussions on the Internet governance. So Ms. Ana Neves, what are your thoughts on the current state of things in the area of digital divide? What can be done to resolve this issue from the standpoint of the global governance? The floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So it's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much for the kind invitation to be here. So, I'm here today to give you an overview of the global digital development and governance on the digital world, with the focus on vulnerable people. So we have the Summit of the Future to be held on the 22nd and 23rd of September. And we will have, hopefully, the endorsement of the Global Digital Compact as an annex to the Pact of the Future Declaration. And we will have here two key moments for vulnerable people and the governance of the digital world. So we are having this pact for the future. We are going to have the Global Digital Compact, and next year in 2025 we will have the World Summit on Information Society review plus 20 years. So let's start with the World Summit on Information Society, which was held in two phases in 2003 and 2005. So I think it makes sense to start with the beginning. And I will say WISIS when I'm talking about the World Summit on Information Society. So I mean WISIS, World Summit on Information Society. It was held on two phases in 2003 in Geneva and then in 2005 in Tunis. And like the summit of the future in a couple of days, this World Summit was focused on information society, but the heads of state and government were the ones that were there in 2003. And this WISIS initiative aimed at bridge the global digital divide and to promote an inclusive information society. So at that time, we were in the world where we called information society. And then we started to talk about the knowledge-based society and economy. And nowadays, commonly, we use digital or cyber. But normally you use digital for what is not security but what is about our digital world. So in both phases of the WISIS, the needs and protection of vulnerable people were key considerations, particularly regarding equitable access to information and communication technologies. In 2003, vulnerable groups whose inclusion in the information society was seen as critical were people in developing countries and least developed countries, women, children and youth, people with disabilities, indigenous peoples, elderly, and the key goals to address vulnerable groups were two: digital inclusion and capacity building. In 2005, with the Tunis phase agenda, vulnerable people were addressed as well, but with a depth analysis, so in a more sophisticated way. So vulnerable people were women and girls, children and youth, rural populations, people with disabilities, indigenous peoples. And the key goals in 2005 were ICTs for development, affordable and universal access, and human rights, and the fourth, ethical use of ICTs. So in both phases of 2003 and 2005, the United Nations and participating stakeholders recognized the critical need to include and protect vulnerable people in the emerging information society. The key areas were bridging the digital divide, promoting universal access, and ensuring that women, children, people with disabilities, indigenous people, and those in rural areas could fully participate in and benefit from the transformative power of ICTs. Now, with the Global Digital Compact, the concept of vulnerable people in the context of this current Global Digital Compact refers to the need for equitable access, protection, and inclusion of individuals or groups who are at risk of being marginalized or exploited due to the digital divide, lack of digital literacy, or exposure to online harms. In relation to vulnerable people, the Compact emphasizes the following principles. In digital inclusion, we have the bridging the digital divide, the access to devices, and digital literacy. So this within the digital inclusion. Then we have protecting human rights online. And here we have online safety and privacy and preventing discrimination. Under the empower and participation, we have digital tools for development, inclusion in digital governance. And under the ethical use of technology, we have to address algorithmic bias and the mitigation to mitigate the impact of emerging technologies. Under ensure connectivity for all, we have universal connectivities, and the vulnerable groups in focus in the Global Digital Compact are women and girls, children, people with disabilities, marginalized communities. So we have everything that was already discussed in the WSIS 2003 2005. So after almost 20 years, we have a global digital compact that is designed to address the inequalities and risks faced by vulnerable populations in the digital age. It stresses the importance of ensuring that digital technologies contribute to inclusive, fair, and sustainable development for everyone, especially those who are at greater risk of being left behind in the global digital transformation. So, to close the gap and to reinforce the 2030 agenda for vulnerable people through advancements in emerging technologies, both the Global Digital Compact and the WSIS Plus 20 years review will be pivotal. We all have a role to play, and I hope that nobody forgets their own role, whether you are in a government, in the private sector, in academia, or in the technical community, or being part of the civil society. You, I, we all have a role. So I really hope that this side event will help to address this issue in a deeper way. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, dear Ms. Neves. It was a brilliant speech. Thank you for joining us from such a far away. And we are grateful that despite the distance, we still can be united. And thank you so much for the presentation of the evolution of this topic of impact of ICT on vulnerable groups, and for your introduction of Global Digital Compact and Global Gender Compact. We are sure that this would be of a great impact on the problem of our today's session. So let me please introduce the next speaker, who is the Mr. Parvin Muminov, the project manager of climate change, energy and environment projects, green energy SMEs development, improvement of water resources management at UNDP Tajikistan. Mr. Muminov is a renewable energy expert with over 12 years of experience in the field of solar, wind, and hydropower. He took part in the development and implementation of more than 4,000 projects on water efficiency, energy efficiency, renewable energy sources, and sustainable land management. So what do you think? What is the role of high-tech in sustainable development, and how can digital solutions promote green technologies, especially in developing countries? You're welcome.
Can you hear
Do
me
you hear
now?
me?
Yeah,
Yes. And we see
I just
your
wanted to
slides.
share my screen first, and then start the speech. One moment, please. Just a technical issue.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Greetings. Of course, my name is Parvin Muminov, and I'm a project manager. Thank you for introduction. The role of the green technologies right now, if we talk about in the context of Tajikistan, is huge. However, today I wanted to showcase some the projects in Tajikistan that can show how this is important in the form of a small booklet. If you can see Do you see my screen and the
Yes, we see the booklet, and we don't see you almost.
Oh, okay. Should I fix
You
it
could,
or is it's fine?
if you move right a little bit, if you move, yes, this is better.
Yes, apologies. It's just the
That's
workplace
okay.
is there's two computers. Yep. And
Please proceed. Yes, now it's perfect.
yes. And before I even start to answer your question, I just want to say that Tajikistan is a sunny country located in the heart of Central Asia. It is a landlocked country neighboring with Afghanistan, China, and Uzbekistan, and bordered with Iraq mountains that dominate over 93% of mountains. We only have 7% of the land that we can use even for many agriculture activities. And in my success story here, I brought many different success stories from Tajikistan. For instance, before even I start presenting this booklet, wanted to indicate that in Tajikistan, we have almost the same issues that we have in Central Asia, which is mostly um, cheap electricity. And this issue does not allow us to promote green energy in Tajikistan. Moreover, unlike electric vehicles, unlike many other technologies that are used in private sector, the green energy technologies are still have some barriers in terms of policies. For instance, in Tajikistan, for electric vehicles, we have customs free for electric free of charge for electric vehicles, no fees, no customs fees, no any other kind of fees. But for photovoltaic, for instance, systems, any emerging technologies with such technologies have to pay this customs fee, have to deal with different obstacles in Tajikistan. Moreover, the other challenge is that people would like to see pilots, would like to understand if these new technologies can have a good payback period or not, if these technologies are affordable, if these technologies have warranties, maintenance, and until that time, it is very difficult to promote any green technologies in Tajikistan. In this slide, I'm showing the project with a civil registry in Tajikistan, where we have installed a photovoltaic system for having civil registry system in rural and remote areas. By implementing a unified portal, the initiative aimed to streamline access to public services across various government agencies. And another one is this is the second page of this booklet that I prepared for this event. Here we can see that many challenges within this system were solved with this with the use of emerging technologies and green technologies. For instance, the problems of let's call it a bureaucracy. People in rural areas sometimes are not able to deal with coming to central offices, and they can just use online applications and use this electricity in rural areas to be able to have branches in these areas for civil registry. It's just one instance. Another success story is the modernizing telemedicine in one of our provinces in Tajikistan. It's the pilot that we had made in this ambulance center, first aid center. This center has limited access to healthcare services and inefficiencies in emergency response system. Basically, what we did, we just made a hybrid system of having uninterrupted electricity for the dispatching center. So these centers can have response time 5 times faster than before. This, of course, increases the number of people served, and of course, before it was 15 minutes, now it's 7 to 8 minutes to have ambulance to the patients. Okay, and of course, we also had partnerships with different companies for this activity. As you see, I am showing that emerging technologies and green energy technologies can be used in all fields. In other instance, it's absolutely different field in having this solution for lower unemployment rate solving in Tajikistan, where we use online platforms for volunteers, for unemployment, for job seekers, which had also used our emerging technologies to increase the rate of employment, increase the rate of volunteering by making every step digitalized and with using new technologies. By this, of course, we had a very good result. Over 150,000 citizens with services such as job placement, training, and other activities were solved. And of course, we had worked with different development partners. Otherwise, it's not easy to promote green technologies and emerging technologies without a proper technical assistance from different parties, considering that for any project, cooperation and technical assistance is vital. And of course, the funding, which is the first importance. I already mentioned about volunteering. I will not stop here, and I will just continue. This is another success story in Tajikistan on using the emerging technologies. And yep, pretty much I wanted to make a very interesting success stories instead of a long 30-page or 20-page presentation. Over to you.
Thank you so much. That was a very interesting presentation of the case of Tajikistan and good cases of how the technologies could be used in various fields, including telemedicine or to fight unemployment. So this is very important to showcase to the whole world. Let me introduce our next speaker, who is Dr. Victoria Panova. She's Vice Rector at HSC University, Russia's Sherpa in W20, head of the BRICS Expert Council Russia, co-chair of BRICS Civil Forum. Dr. Panova is a well-known expert in BRICS in Russia and globally, Her professional and research interests include global governance, international organizations, international security, sustainability, and innovation. Dr. Panova, in what ways can universities support the technological revolution? And what is the role of a modern university to keep up with the innovation process?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much. Extremely happy to be at this meeting, and especially among such prominent experts in each respective field. With some of you, we already work within either G20 or BRICS process, and what we are doing, I believe we're making change to this world. So please, ladies and gentlemen, proceed with this further, and I can assure you that I will always be your very solid companion in this regard on this journey. But now back to what Ms. Shevtsova asked. So emerging technologies and higher education. So of course, the world we live in today is undergoing quite a profound transformation at the moment, and it's the pace of it is increasing with every moment, with every day. And it is largely driven by the rapid development of and adoption of new technologies, from artificial intelligence and quantum computing to biotech and renewable energy solutions. And nowadays, emerging technologies are redefining every aspect of human life. This technological revolution has profound implications for how we work, communicate, learn, think. Let me support this just with some figures. It is estimated that the current high-tech market size is approximately $8.51 trillion US, and it is expected to reach $11.47 trillion US by 2026, just in 2 years. Revenue of the global tech market increased from $679 billion US back in 2019 to $705 billion US this year, and expected to add another 100 by 2028. The pace of innovation is as rapid as ever. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, in 2022, innovators around the world submitted 3.46 million patent applications, which is the highest number of applications ever recorded in history. We truly enter a new technological era that is already bringing about significant changes to our daily lives, and the pace of these changes will only accelerate it. It will only accelerate as the statistics show. Importantly, in the context of our today's discussion, new tech allow us to make significant improvements for vulnerable groups. The UN 2030 agenda states the need to empower most vulnerable and includes all children, youth, persons with disabilities, of whom more than 80% in fact live in poverty, people living with HIV/AIDS, older persons, indigenous people, refugees, and internally displaced persons and migrants. There are numerous ways in which new tech can assist those groups of people. For example, with the help of blockchain, governments can create shared, highly secure digital records for vulnerable individuals, and also break down bureaucratic obstacles to simplify and accelerate the process of assistance to those that are in this group. Social care providers can utilize the Internet of Things to constantly monitor the health of elderly and isolated individuals. There are many more examples of how new tech can help the most vulnerable groups, from new opportunities in healthcare to natural disaster prevention. This is a major room for opportunity. From the beginning of human history, the main goal of technological development was to make our lives easier, safer, and better. Now, as we embrace the tech-driven world and tech-driven economy, there is a chance to achieve unprecedented results in improving our quality of life. And what we're living for, what we're working for human beings, people at the center, human being is at the center. And especially this should be taken into account when we come to vulnerable groups. Yet the tech development momentum must be constantly supported. And since I'm representing university here, universities must play one of the most important roles in the process, and we'll discuss further on how this could be. Of course, it is true that a university's core mission is educating the new generation, the youth, but also it is to drive forward the innovations. And it's always been part of the university goal, and enhanced, got even more important recently. There are many ways in which we can support, we can do it. First of all, universities can be direct suppliers of inventions. Universities' inventive activity is growing. For example, according to our Russian Federal Service for Intellectual Property, almost half or 50% of all last year patent applications belong to universities. Second of all, universities foster the culture of entrepreneurship, creating an atmosphere where innovative thinking is inspired and nurtured. This is very important. Last but not least, universities encourage collaboration with the private sector. Another very important aspect, and such partnerships not only just about transferring knowledge from lab to practice, they provide critical funding for talented faculty and students to pursue foundational research, enable students and faculty to exchange ideas with the very best minds inside and outside the academy, and perhaps most importantly, help to prepare students to be citizens of this rapidly changing world. In Russia, a lot of attention is paid to foster high-tech innovations at universities. It was 3 years ago in 2021 that Priority 2030 program was adopted. It came in place of the 5 Top 100, another leadership program for university. And in Priority 2030, there are 100 leading Russian universities, and they're provided with research grants. And there's also a national project, Science and Universities, and this project fosters research cooperation among universities and increases attractiveness of Russian entities for the leading Russian foreign researchers, supporting large-scale tech projects and providing our universities with modern research infrastructure. So this is another important point. I will give probably a bit more concrete examples from HSC University. We've been created 32 years ago now, very young, but already striving on already managing to become the leader over those 3 decades, plus a leader in Russian higher educational and research architecture. I can just few examples. We're the only Russian university that makes part of, in QS, Young Universities ranking within top 35. So we're number 31. Oh, wow. And by THE Young Universities, we grew 11%. We're now 87 from, 12, I think, points from, we're now 87 from 99, 98, yeah, sorry, so 11, 98 from previous score. So, and a lot of it is exactly achieved because we pay extra attention to research and innovation. Of course, national initiatives provide substantial financial support, create world-class conditions for research. We have over 100 research institutions, 49 world-class international labs. We are establishing mirror laboratories, international mirror laboratories with their leading universities and entities and research centers all over the world. Like what we have a Center for Commercialization of Developments and Technology Transfer, and it's become a crucial point within HSC for such advancements. It enables our university to manage the complex process of bringing academic research to the market, ensuring the cutting-edge developments that contribute both to industry and society. And moreover, this center provides services not only to HSC's internal units, but also to external organizations. By doing so, it amplifies the impact of innovations across various centers. It also plays a crucial role in fostering startup companies within the university, but also creating a robust ecosystem for entrepreneurship and innovation based on our university. Another field of significant engagement in HSC is artificial intelligence. It's also quite young, but this is a young area as well. And in 2021, after winning a prestigious grant from the government of the Russian Federation, the university established the AI Research Center, and it's part of the Faculty of Computer Sciences. And it continues winning the award as a leader in Russia for AI research. And it covers many areas that are driving innovation and shaping the future of AI for not only our Russian economy and society, but for more globally. And it implements multi-directional projects that go beyond the only technical aspects of developing and improving existing AI technologies. So it could be ecology, ethics, linguistics, law, name the few the areas. Another one, it's worth mentioning the role of HSC University in the development of regulatory and legal AI ecosystem. It's also an important aspect. We became the first ones in Russia to approve the Declaration of Ethical Principles for the Creation and Use of Artificial Intelligence Systems. This document is a vital legal framework for all participants of the educational process, setting high standards and promoting responsible approach to AI use. Thanks to AI and machine algorithms, large amounts of information can be structured and analyzed, and curricula can be personalized. Students' subject knowledge and skills can be deepened and developed, as well as their career tracks can be created. And that's what we see in HSC as the leader in Russia in terms of how this is used for student interaction and possibility already in the process. We also continuously enhancing scientific and educational progress in AI to stay aligned with the latest industry trends. Notably, this year we introduced the AI 360 or 360 Artificial Intelligence Engineering track, and it is a part of its flagship undergraduate program in applied math and computer science at the Faculty of Computer Science, and is supported by leading national IT companies and top educational institutions. That ensures that students receive cutting-edge training and industry-relevant expertise. Among such partners, we can name Yandex, Sber, and universities like ITMOR, Innopolis. Those are leading ones in tech as well. In addition, we offer students from all around the world participation in scientific and competition venues. For instance, our Institute of Artificial Intelligence hosts the annual international conference on machine learning, which is called Fall into ML. And we would be happy to welcome other universities, students to be sending them to this contest. Last but not the least, the HSC University Faculty of Computer Sciences and Yandex Education are launching this year their first joint AI competition, which is Artificial Intelligence and Data Analysis Olympiad for students from all around the world. And participants will tackle challenging tasks in science and industry and interact with experts from both HSC and Yandex. By cultivating strong industry partnerships and offering hands-off research opportunities, HSC ensures its students are well prepared to lead innovation and tackle real-world challenges in AI. Another example, recently the unique HSC University International Laboratory of Quantum Optoelectronics engaged in such a strategic sphere as production and development of semiconductors and chips. It was founded back in 2020 as part of the HEC St. Petersburg School of Physics, Math, and Computer Science, and it carries out research in the areas of relevance like micro and nano resonators, chip-based optical interconnection systems, etc. So it would be interesting to go into details for those who kind of are in this area. So I would not be going deep into that in a general discussion. It is important to mention that production and development of semiconductors is a significant area that unlocks development of multiple high-tech areas, including AI or equipment for data collection or processing and high-speed data transmission, as well as a creation of complex hardware and software complexes that ensure the formation of computing infrastructure. So we do strive and are pioneers in terms of high-tech development. Modern university cannot be just a place to receive higher education, just to get some knowledge and get a higher education diploma, but it is rather a significant part of a complex, innovative ecosystem. We educate the best minds and we gather the best minds to provide them with everything necessary to come up with the best high-tech solutions in every sphere of knowledge. Moving technology forward and being at the forefront of emerging tech, with the ultimate goal of improving the quality of life, should be a natural part of university's mission. That is what our tech-driven world demands, and that is what we do. Thank you so much.
Dear Dr. Panova, thank you for your important good practice of a university in transferring knowledge and fostering science and innovation. We know that you have another engagement, so you have to leave us. Thank you for your time. So it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker. This is Dr. Zhenyi Guo, the Secretary General of the Beijing International Exchange Association. Dr. Guo has worked with more than 100 Chinese and foreign enterprises in the Asia-Pacific and BRICS countries. Her interests include innovation in international enterprise development, transnational technology transfer, and full life cycle of SMEs, technology transfer services for projects in domestic and foreign markets, project facilitation, investment and financial services, and international cooperation. Dr. Guo, how can improving women's scientific and technological knowledge and skills help contribute to achieve gender equality? Are there any ways to maintain women's jobs and promote their participation on the labor market in terms of digital economy? So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Ksenia, for the introduction. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, online and on-site. This is Jenny from Beijing International Exchange Association, and I'm very honored to be one of the hosts and also a speaker for today's side event. There is an old saying in China, women can hold up half the sky. Today, when we talk about the future and achieving SDG goals, we can't neglect the empowerment, the voice of women as a whole. So my speech today will focus on the challenges and opportunities for tech women. There is no easy way to achieve success. Let's start with the difficulties and challenges faced by women in STI industries. Here I highlighted 4 aspects as low participation and insufficient voice in decision-making, gender differences in research, and hard to keep work-life balance. There has always been a very obvious leaking pipeline in the field of scientific research. From the university to PhD, the proportion of women is dropping. However, it is roughly equal number between the boys and girls at the preliminary education stage. So it is what we call the leaking in women participation in science. During the management of decision-making process, limited voices from women can be heard. the situation is even more severe in the field of science and technology. Take a look at the graph here. In China, as the right line shows, men took nearly 4 times more researchers with professional titles than women, though the racial gap was narrowed in the last 10 years. It is not only underestimated women's influence in the tech field, but also greatly affect the comprehensiveness and inclusiveness of technology achievement. Also, the participation of women has input from a new and diverse perspective. However, for a long time, women in academia have been blocked by the glass ceiling in science, with most unable to step into the center of science, though lots of them in the scientific community are the actually leading contributors. For female science tech talents, it's hard to keep a work-life balance. It is an old saying. And even more severe, the society expects more for the female in their social characteristics rather than to making achievement as a scientist. Women in tech must prove themselves capable in their jobs while also juggling multiple roles at home, in adding their psychological and life burdens. The situation is hard and challenging, but change is happening as well. Take China also as an example. By 2023, the proportion of female scientists and technologists had reached 45.8%, comparing just 13 in 2005. Also, in 2021, 13 Chinese ministries jointly issued several measures to support women in science tech to improve the friendly environment building. Here, I would like to introduce 2 female scientists from China. The first one is Ms. Tu Youyou, won the 2015 Nobel Prize in Medicine for her pioneer work to isolate artemisinin from Chinese herbal medical and use it to treat malaria. Also, L'Oreal and UNESCO have announced the 5 winners of the 2024 Outstanding Women in Science worldwide, including structural biologist Yan Ning, also an academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. They are the lifetime role model for all women in tech and also the younger generations. Besides China, both EU and US also have supportive policies in their framework. For example, the European Union has this Horizon 2020, and also the Career Life Balance Program taken by the US. My teacher once inspired me to believe in my potential to take center stage. This affirmation has empowered me significantly and for a certain period of time. So I aspire to expand this empowerment to more young women and girls, enlightening their path towards science. Consequently, since 2021, we initiate this platform called called the Capacity Building Center for Science Tech Women. And this is also the born story of this center. And as you can see from the slides, you can reach us anytime, anywhere through www.sciencetechwomen.com for totally free. Then let me introduce a little bit more about the center. By spearheading 3 capacity building courses, the center aims to establish a collaborative network of female science tech talents, leveraging its international council as a fundamental element. Since 2022, we have been hosting our flagship annual meeting and occasionally figuring related events, as you can see from the slides. And the Female Science Tech Talents Collaboration Network will eventually gathering a high-level female for no less than 1,000, covering all over the world. To achieve the objective of the center, we focus on 3 pillars. As you can see, is career building, entrepreneurship, and science literacy capacity buildings. And what we are different from others is the curriculum of the center diverse from the traditional one-way output model by adopting a problem-solving approach. That is to say, we raised up like 20 common questions, as you can see from these slides, and we actually inviting the experts worldwide to sharing their experience about their understanding or their personal stories about how to achieve or solve the questions. So actually, we don't seeking for one correct answer. We just seeking for a reference solutions. After active preparation, representative from Brazil, Canada, Croatia, Portugal responded positively to this initiative. And here you can see we organized an international council for the center to collaborating really much often, and all members made joint efforts to the curriculum designing, to the construction of the official website, and also co-organized the figuring events. Please join me, have a look at the road so far from the International Council. So I also take this chance to introduce you to our International Council members, Canada, Brazil, China, Croatia, and Portugal. And here, invited by the council members, experts actually from 8 different countries shared their own understanding and unique insights on the 20 questions oriented by the curriculum for the 3 capacity building courses, and the 30 experienced videos on capacity building have been brought together to boost the capacities of female science-tech talents around the world. Also, we have several very much interesting figure events. I would like to share some of the examples. The first one took place in July 28th of 2022, leading by our International Council member from Canada, Nicole Choster. We are talking about the International Women's Leadership Initiative, and also about women in workplace strategies to eliminate gender barriers. And for the 2 consecutive years, 2023 and 24, we hosted scientific sessions in the AAAS annual meeting in US. The first year in 2023, we especially emphasize on the female science-tech talents capacity building on entrepreneurship. And for this year, we're focusing on advancing DEI in science technology for underrepresented group, which is also have a session for the female, also for the women empowerment. And then most exciting thing is the launching ceremony of Brazilian chapters also happened in last June. That is to say, from the International Council to the network, and then we have a small baby from the Brazil. And for the another also very much exciting news is we will have a small session in the Empertex and Neuro event in the upcoming December in São Paulo, also talking about this empowerment of female science-tech talents. Also another brand about our annual meeting. It is a dynamic mechanism event since 2023. And for the last 2 years, all in November, we hosted the event online to have a review of throughout the year and also foresee and planning a little bit for the next year. So this is the capacity building centers annual meeting. And also an increasing number of previously understated women scientists and entrepreneurs are now stepping into the spotlight, posing unprecedented questions, challenging long-held assumptions, and arriving at groundbreaking conclusions. Supporting women transcends involves co-creating a future that ultimately benefits everyone, women, men, and society as a whole. Women in Science will inspire generations, illuminate paths forward, and also shine brightly for all. So that is my speech for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Danny. That was very interesting to know what are the challenges faced by women and your best practices from China about capacities building courses. I'm sure that this would be an inspiration for many women globally. It is my pleasure to give the floor to our next speaker, Ms. Dan Yan, chairwoman of Zhongguan Tunmun Times Building. This is International Incubator for Educational Activities. Ms. Yan is mainly focused in the field of EdTech, namely innovations in education, informatization, digitalization, and smartization of basic education. Dr. Yan, is there a progress in literacy rates, and if so, to what extent from the use of EdTech? Has the digitalization of education helped to increase a share of educated women with a follow-up successful employment? The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dan Yang, educational practitioner from Zhongguan MOOC Times Building. It's my great pleasure to sit here and share opinions and experience regarding how technologies contribute to education in environment communities. Acting as a cornerstone of country development, education is significant for the future of mankind, regardless of great efforts. Chinese education has been constrained by uneven regional development for a long time. Technologies in today's digital society demonstrate a great potential to overcome this lingering problem. From 2000 till now, Chinese educational information has gone through different stages with distinguished focus. The 2000 to 2020 decade is the period of constructing the foundation. At that time, period and secondary schools emphasized infrastructure development, resource exploration, and network construction. The national project School to School launched in 2000 embrace to China education standardized broadband network into rural primary education. Relevant process and actions facilitate trainees' education by mitigate gaps between urban and rural teaching qualities. The internet has become a bridge for schools, teachers, and students in vulnerable communities to connect to the world. Since 2010, the Chinese central government has prioritized educational informatization as one of the most important national strategies and proposal shows, such as three pieces and two platforms. From 2012 to 2019, it began to pilot the construction of synchronous and spatial deliver classroom teaching across the country through transmitting advanced teaching resources in urban to remote areas through live to recorded broadcasts. The authority wanted to promote fire education with the format of international plus education. Giving credit to the development of EdTech and national policies, our center took part in the career of internet education for years. We have participated in several internet education projects and established a fundamental service system for the international education building. As the first ecological park with a mode of education plus technology in China, our center always stick to the strategy of helping the poor by helping their intelligence. By collaborating with sci-tech companies as well as primary and secondary schools, we dropped related proposals to cultivate talents in rural areas and utilizing cutting-edge technology such as teaching classroom, synchronous live broadcasting, and asynchronous live broadcasting to deliver curriculum resources to remote areas. In 2022, the Chinese central government established the world's largest national primary and secondary smart education platform, which is free for us by all schools, teachers, and students nationwide. According to statistics, the platform have over more than 100 million registered users and more than 2.5 billion visitors. The national platform has effectively served vulnerable areas with weak education resources, helping the communities to achieve national teaching quality. The teacher is the center of all education. However, teacher is a vulnerable communities and are incapable of applying information and technologies in daily teaching, confronting the situation. The Chinese government has implemented a program named the National Training Program for primary and secondary school teachers since 2010. 5 years later, the program paid greater attention to empowering teachers in rural areas to transform the blood serving training into blood creating training. In 2022, the Ministry of Education in China issued the digital literacy industrial standard for teachers, emphasizing the need to guide teachers to use information technology to carry out educational and teaching activities. The standard with 5 dimensions, named digital awareness, digital technology, knowledge and skills, digital application, digital social responsibility, and professional development, has promoted a series of training efforts with the theme of ED Tech across the country. As a center focus on education, innovation, and development, we seek long-term collaboration with governments, research institutes, and technology enterprises to help teachers grow. In 2021, our center and Beijing Normal University jointly initiated the Internet Plus empowering regional education, new infrastructure, public welfare action to help teachers in remote areas such as Tibet, Guangxi, Gansu, and Yunnan, to understand the latest education concepts and education dynamics by building an online live broadcasting platform. In introducing as select teacher resources and carry out lectures on topics such as interdisciplinary learning, project-based learning, and precision teaching. At the same time, we actively exploring STEM teaching concepts in Xinjiang, assisting local education departments to build STEM innovation labs and boosting teachers' professional growth and development through a series of measures such as site construction, teacher training, curriculum construction, and resource supply. In China, the deep integration of technology and education will bring infinite possibilities for educational development in vulnerable areas. We are constantly promoting more immersive and interactive learning environments using generative AI technology, big data, virtual reality, augmented reality, the Internet of Things, and other cutting-edge technologies of facilitate accurate teaching. We are also concerned about sustainable education, ensuring that technologies could become a powerful tool for fair education. Additionally, we standardize and open education data for more efficient education managers. The career of education plus technology environment communities cannot be built in a day. It requires joint efforts from governments, schools, enterprises, and all sectors of society. All governments shall increase investment, improving the system and mechanism to guarantee the application of science and technology in education. Schools shall actively explore new means of education plus technology to improve the quality of teaching. Enterprise shall give full play to the other advantage of technological innovation, as well as develop more educational products and services that took into account vulnerable communities for society. We shall pay attention to and give support, working together to create a good education ecosystem. Sincerely, I with a partner with more research in systems, primary and secondary schools and EdTech enterprises together. We could use the power of science and technology to contribute to our vulnerable communities' education, promote a fair education for every child, to create a better future for the next generations. This concludes my speech. Thank you.
Dear Ms. Yan, thank you so much for your presentation. That was very important for us to understand the case of digitalization of education in China and measures you have to improve teachers' literacy. Thank you again for the contribution. And on this note, I would like to pass the floor to a co-moderator of this session, Mr. Bin Han.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Han from Hong Kong, China. We are a policy advocacy and communication agency focusing on digital inclusion and gender equality. So that's why I am a man here to support every initiative that you, the women, have. I'm very pleased and honored to be a moderator for the coming section, which is a panel discussion. I'm very lucky to have three ladies joining with us from three I's: in Indonesia, India, and Iran. Yes. So let me introduce my panelists, including Uli Silalahi. She is the W20 chair in Indonesia, as well as the vice president of the Indonesia National Council of Women. Thank you. And the second one is Dariti Patnaik. She is the chief coordinator of W20 India, as well as the entrepreneurs and public policy expert. Welcome. And the third one is the lady. She is Elham Aminzadeh. She is the advisor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran, as well as the vice rector of Tehran University. Welcome. So let's start our panel discussion. Our section comes from the first one. We would like to understand the latest landscape of the in different countries, and the second one will focus on our recommendations and suggestions to UN as well as to all government to think about how to achieve gender equality for all vulnerable groups, which is also the topic of the this year's the Summit of the Future. So my first question to Uli, as chair of the W20 Indonesia, you've championed gender equalities and women's empowerment in the digital age. How do you see advancements in digital technology helping to close the gender gap in access to resources and opportunities, particularly for women in developing countries? Please.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, because we have the online also, right? So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, okay, I just want to put a little bit additional for, you said that I'm a vice president for the National Council of Women Indonesia. That's actually, this is the federation, and then we have 104 women organization with 90 million members in Indonesia, and then we are the only one, the women organization is member in the UN in the ECOSOC Consultative Forum. Okay, so we would like to the answer of your question that the advancement in digital technology have the potential significantly reduce the gender gap, particularly in developing countries where traditional barriers such as geographical isolation limited across to like education and gender society norms persists. And in the digital age, we are witnessing a paradigm shift and enables women to bypass these challenges and access to resources and opportunity that were previously unavailable to them. So for instance, the rise of the e-commerce platform has enabled women entrepreneurs in the rural area. As you know that our countries have there many islands and the rural is very many in my country. So to reach the national and global markets, transforming home-based business into sustainable enterprises. As digital financial services such as mobile banking and fintech solution have empowered women who are unbanked or underbanked to access loans, savings, and other financial services, this is critical for their economic empowerment. However, it is essential to acknowledge that despite these advancements, a significant digital divide still exists. According to the report by GSME, women in low and middle income countries are 16% less likely than men to use mobile internet. So which limits their ability to leverage these opportunities. In Indonesia, although internet penetration has increased, there are still notable disparities in digital literacy, especially in, of course, in rural area and remote areas. Bridging this gap requires a concerted effort that we do. We should to improve digital literacy and ensure affordable access to devices and the internet and create policies that encourage inclusive participations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so now let's turn to India. Darichi, we would like to understand, because India's Digital India initiative has been a game changer in transforming various sectors. Could you please provide insights into how this digital advancement has specifically empowered women and small business, especially as well as in rural areas? Thank you, please.
Thanks, Sam. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. Um, it's a very interesting subject, how digitization has transformed India. And you know that everyone's been talking about the new digital India. So this happened with very concerted efforts by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And he launched a campaign called Digital India Campaign on July 1st, 2015. And since then, and since the last one decade, from 14% to 52%, it's been the increase in internet access throughout India. So there's been 173 million internet users in December 2024, and now we have 751 million in January 2024. So that was 2014. So remarkable change in the last one decade of what India has seen and gone through. And I think it's also the kind of very mission mode programs that were targeted for empowering the vulnerable groups, especially living in rural areas, and mostly women. And there are a lot of schemes like the Prime Minister's Jan Dhan Yojana, which also had millions of women access to formal finance. So a lot of schemes that came up that the Prime Minister's introduced, and that helped access of technology into rural areas. The whole Digital India campaign was about building the digital infrastructure and also access to that infrastructure and proper services, because most of the time we can have good infrastructure, but people do not have services or information or knowledge to access it. So like financial inclusion has been one of the primary areas, and so digital literacy, which was again combined. So there were multiple programs combined together under the Digital India campaign. So the digital literacy program, then the digital infrastructure, the payment gateway. So now even if you go to any rural area or to, like, you'll have the street vendors selling vegetables, they'll be all using a payment gateway, the UPI. So it's incredible. So it's all instant payment gateways, which you don't find in the developed countries at all. So what we see is also now a growing area of how small businesses, especially in low income groups, are having access to digitization. And this is kind of a revolution. And now we hope that 200 million women in India will become part of the digital revolution, who are all small business entrepreneurs. So there's like Uli just before me, I mentioned about the e-commerce and marketplace, the online marketplace development. I would like to say that one of the leading e-commerce platforms has stated that 40% of its sellers are women. And this pandemic also, the COVID pandemic also opened its doors for women entrepreneurs to market their products, homepreneurs, to have more homepreneurs, women selling their products sitting from home, because a lack of mobility is one of the major issues for women to become entrepreneurs, or access to marketplaces, and online platforms have opened that. I myself am a startup entrepreneur in beauty and wellness, and I sell my products online in Amazon, Flipkart, and of course my own e-marketplace. So we've seen how this has really helped things, things that I would have invested millions of dollars, I can do it at a limited funds. So there's been many, and a lot of online training programs, microfinancing, crowdfunding, access to new markets. So there's been a lot of hope, a lot of transformation, and so although we have a lot of challenges, but I think what's happening in India, or the new India as we call it, is really very encouraging and inspiring.
Thank you so much. And we've heard a lot of very good studies from Digital India, especially with the support from your government. But sometimes we also see some crisis from conflicts as well. So let me turn to Elham from Iran, because I understand you are a professional in this field. So given the challenges that international organizations face in managing humanitarian crisis today, how do you see the role of these institutions involving, particularly in relations to conflict resolutions? Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to raise some issues regarding the subject that gentleman mentioned. The topic of my words is the legitimacy and effectiveness of the United Nations and regional organizations in the conflict management for the establishment international peace and security. So all of us know that achieving peace and tranquility, unity and friendship between nations has been one of the longest-standing dreams of mankind, and international organizations have been established to achieve this goal. But today, looking at the humanitarian crisis in the world, are we witnessing the weakening of international organizations? Are international organizations strengthened and gradually taking over the future leadership of the world? Is the process of democratization in international organizations strengthened based on the equal rights and sovereignty of all states? Is it possible? It may be possible that international organizations with a heavier role and responsibility in the fields of politics, security, economy, and development will move towards a single ruling system. Or it is possible that by weakening the efficiency and legitimacy of international organizations, we will witness regional organizations with civilizational, cultural, linguistic, religious convergences gaining strength in the future of the world, like BRICS and Shanghai Organization. Or it is possible that global and regional organizations move parallel to each other. But the success of each of these two will depend on their efficiency and legitimacy. And whoever steps more in the direction of efficiency and legitimacy, this will make one over the other. We don't know the future, what happened. Are the regional organizations be empowered or global organizations? Therefore, international arena is waiting to see how United Nations manage the humanitarian crisis. We see that there are many interference in internal and external affairs of countries, like sanctions, economic sanctions, based on the unilateral decisions. And these cruel sanctions affected the trade of international trade law. Primary and secondary sanctions are applied in violation of human welfare, educational, health, and economic human rights rules. Therefore, justice is a popular subject and the desire of nations. Why is the United Nations silent on the injustices, especially on the criminal and shameful acts against tens of thousands of civilians, including women, men, children, the sick, and the elderly in West Asia? Isn't this a sign of the inefficiency and weakness of the United Nations that thousands of innocent children were dismembered or maimed in the last year, and the international organizations that we establish for welfare of these children are just observers. We remember that in the 1990s, the Security Council convened a meeting within a few hours of an occupation issue and issued a resolution to suppress the aggressor. I mean the aggression of Iraq against Kuwait. In such words, it is appropriate for countries to turn to multilateralism and take important steps in managing international crises by using regional organizations and eliminating unilateralism. The BRICS group has created this hope not only among BRICS member nations, but also among many countries of the world, that by removing the criteria imposed by certain countries, it facilitates the path of development and financial and university circulation between these countries. And in the near future, we will witness the growth and prosperity of emerging organizations and powers, and ultimately the liberation of nations from oppression, war, insecurity, and hunger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elham. I totally agree with you. Unless we have a very peaceful environment, then we can support each other, especially to empower women and other vulnerable groups to grow their business, to have a happy family life. Yes. That's very important. So the next section, we need your advice to the governments as well as to UNs, what kind of policies and recommendation to them. So let's start with Uli first. What role can international cooperation play in scaling up successful gender-inclusive digital initiative, particularly in Indonesia and other parts of Southeast Asia, please?
Yes, thank you, Sam. Okay, the international cooperation actually is critical for scaling up successful gender inclusive digital initiatives. So as it allows for the pooling of resources, sharing of best practice, and the creation of the unified strategy to tackle gender inequality in the digital sphere. Gender inclusion in digital technology cannot be addressed by only one country alone, especially when the challenges are similar across many developing regions. We should make a good connection and together improve gender inclusive digital. So in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, you know, we have the 10 countries, right? In Southeast Asia, this is a successful digital initiatives aimed at empowering women have been supported by international organizations and cross-border. So for example, the collaboration between Indonesia and the Asian Development Bank and on projects that focus on digital skills training for women entrepreneurs has proven to be an effective model for expanding women participation in digital economy. So these types of partnerships leverage both financial resources and technical expertise from international bodies, ensuring that programs are scalable and sustainable. So moreover, that's international organizations like the United Nations, ASEAN, and the World Economic Forum play a very crucial role in setting global standards and frameworks that prioritize gender equality. So these frameworks help create accountability, push for data-driven policy making, and ensure that women's needs are integrated into national digital strategies. For instance, Indonesia digital transformation agenda has been influenced by international standards that advocate for gender inclusive policies in tech development and education. So I would like to little bit just additionally that global platforms such as W20 provide a unique opportunity for countries to share their success stories and challenges. So the program that have been successful in Indonesia, such as Digital Financial Literacy Initiative for Women or mobile health services targeting mothers in rural areas, can serve as model for other countries in region. By fostering regional cooperation, we can create a collective momentum that drives gender equality across borders, ensuring that women everywhere benefit from the digital revolution. Thank you, Sam. Sorry, I should leave me.
Thank you so much. And I believe you have another engagement very soon. So let's turn to India for Tarichi. And we just heard about some very good case studies from India about how technology can empower women and other groups as well. But we need to understand more, for example, challenges, as well as future recommendations. So what challenges does India still face in bridging the digital divide, and what policies and or initiatives are in place to ensure that this digital transformation continue to be inclusive and benefit for all citizens? Please.
We still have challenges, like I mentioned, we've got only 52% coverage, internet access, so that digital literacy and access has been an issue. As of 2024, the Internet and Mobile Association of India reports that approximately 60% of rural areas still lack high-speed internet access, highlighting a gap that we need to address. So the urban-rural divide in internet access remains. So does the gender divide again, between men and women having access both to high-speed internet, to smartphones, and technology and digital literacy. Although I'll come to recommendations of what's happening now, the way forward, and cybersecurity concerns. And I think that's everywhere now is a major issue with technology. So the National Cybersecurity Coordinator reports a 25% increase in cyber attacks over the past year, underscoring the need for enhanced cybersecurity measures for businesses. A lot of online frauds, scams are happening. So again, with the technology advancing, there are also a lot of challenges that come with it that needs to be addressed. And now you have cyber policing, cyber security policies, regulations. Another, I think, challenge that we face is regulatory and compliance issues. According to World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report, India ranks 63rd out of 190 countries, indicating ongoing challenges in navigating regulatory requirements for businesses, the tax liabilities that small businesses also face for online selling and marketing and all that. So these are the challenges, both in terms of having internet education or technology education access and having the right compliances and training. So what are the recommendations, or how do we move forward? So we move forward with more focused interventions in having digital literacy programs, having proper public-private partnerships, skill development, which is again has to be linked to jobs. So we also saw a huge increase of women taking online digital courses in e-commerce and marketing and business. So this is also it shows a good trend, a positive trend. So I think we need to have more of that public sector and the private sector coming forward and supporting, because government's doing its bit. And the tie-ups with Startup India, Invest India, because you also need funding and additional support to get these things done. And of course, more infrastructure in the rural and accessible remote areas. So have more high-speed internet there. I think that's one of the most challenging factor now, why we have that divide. other remote inaccessible tribal areas or where indigenous communities live, where we do not have proper network. And once that infrastructure is there, I think a lot of issues will, once with infrastructure starts the services and the accompanying benefits. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have heard a lot of very good examples again. So the next one is to, okay. So, so we have a very insightful discussion today. So let's see whether we have any questions online. No, okay. And then I would like to just give a very short inclusion about our section. So I think today we discussed a lot, especially how we are talking about technology and digital solutions, including AI and e-commerce and others, how can help women as well as other vulnerable groups. I just want to include that the future of women and vulnerable groups in technology depends on our collective actions today, including women and men together. Because in the context of UN, we have the He for She program as well. So men should support women as well. So let's us commit to advocating for investing in and building a future where technology empowers everyone, including women and other vulnerable groups. That's all. Thank you so much.